Referendum Party of Canada is based on the creation of a micronation. What's a micronation? A micronation is a nation that's owned by its citizens. So in this case, when the Referendum Party of Canada gets elected, they'll come in with policies. The policies will turn Canada into a micronation. The First Nations people of Canada and the Canadian citizens will be joint owners of the nation. So with the Referendum Party of Canada, they become elected officials that represent the Canadian citizen, and they're not trustees. They have to have permission to do things. They have to have permission to sell your resources out. They have to have permission from the citizens to raise the rent. They have to have permission from the citizens to raise cable as well as telephone. And under Referendum Party of Canada, most corporations like TV, cable will be owned by the citizens. The mining companies will be owned by the citizens. If you look at Finland, and if you look at a couple other countries in Europe, you'll see that they're based on a similar system, where the citizens have say over what goes on, and they share in the resources. Like if you look at how much telephone brings in, they bring in several $billions a year. Same with cable. In this nation, in a micronation, the citizens would get the check and not investors, because they would be the investors. That's what it's based on. The Canadian citizens would be regarded as the investors in all activities. It's really good because if you build a high-rise, then it's not the realtors that are going to make the profit. The citizens of Canada. And when you build high-rises, a portion of them will be allocated to citizens and not to outsiders whose money is different than ours, the value is different than ours, and it might come from drug money, it might come from corruption. Investment corporations will be forbidden from purchasing homes in Canada. You see, the more homes they buy, the less homes are available to Canadians. And if they're only used as an investment scheme, then the Canadian citizen loses out. Under a micronation, that won't happen. Under a micronation, anything that's built is built on behalf of the citizens of Canada, which says that the profits are returned to the citizens of Canada minus what is needed by the citizens of Canada. There are a lot more benefits to the Referendum Party of Canada. There's a return of the profits back to the citizens. And I'm sure that's more than $2,000 a month. And I'm sure that's more than $2,000 plus $2,000 reinvested for you. In a micronation, the political officials are responsible for investments. They have to invest for the citizens to make them wealthy. The government we have now invests in corporations. They're vested in corporations. They probably get, or their relations, or somehow they get a return from allowing these corporations to come here, saying they give jobs at crappy wages, but to leave with billions in profit? It really doesn't sound right. And under the Referendum Party of Canada, that'll end, because under a micronation, it's forbidden for people to profiteer and to plunder and to profit while the neighbor is starving. Okay? And if Canadians don't want to help Canadians get wealthy, they can leave. We don't need them, because they're only out to take advantage of you. Man, you gotta look at your pensions when you retire. You gotta look at your parents that are stuck in old age homes, and how many of them died from COVID. And what did the government do and is doing about COVID? Not much. It's a year later, and it's the same old stuff on TV. You gotta practice restrictions. We're getting vaccinated soon. Everything is soon. It's really not what's going on. And if you look at the people who are losing, there's a ton of them. If you look at the rate of suicide, it's elevated. A lot of people are going to lose their homes. A lot of people lost their businesses. A lot of people lost. And what is the government doing for them? Nothing. What is corporations like TELUS and others do for them nothing. Under the Referendum Party of Canada, if I was at this time Prime Minister of Canada, I'd have a lot of money put aside for all of you, so that the economy, when this is recovered, will recover a lot better. And now you guys are all spending what little cash you have. You're borrowing off your credit cards, you're trying to borrow off the bank, you're trying to exist, and the government's not doing anything for you. $2,000 a month, part of a policy I promoted 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, if not longer, on Facebook. And so, look at the Water Act. Right now, they're just starting to install new water lines. Soon, they might start metering coffee shops. Look how late it is. They might start metering Nestle. And to me, these people have made a lot of money. Fracking has destroyed your water. Now, a lot of bottled companies, water bottle companies are pilfering your water source, and the government is selling it to them for dirt cheap. All they want is more profit from the sale of anything and everything, because they collect taxes on it. And that's what your government in the past is based on. Privatization of resources, so they could collect money's taxes. And in the end, they should have built you all companies. There should have been a Canadian gold company taking care of all the Canadian gold. There should have been a Canadian-owned diamond company taking care of all the Canadian gemstones. There isn't. It's all privately owned. They take the raw material, they leave Canada, they go polish it up, and it's worth billions more. And in the end, none of you benefit. Under a micronation, that would not happen. They would be charged for pilfering. Under a micronation, diamonds would have to be polished here, and they'd have to be sold internationally out of Canada. All gemstones, all gold, platinum, all metals, all elements that have value should be owned by the citizens of Canada. They're not, because your government has allowed others to pilfer. Your government's allowed others to pilfer, and they indirectly or directly pocketed from it. If you look at a Prime Minister that's earning more in retirement than a common hard-working Canadian after 4 years, there's something wrong with the picture. When I get elected, I'm running under minimum wage, so I can understand what the needs of the people are. Trudeau, ask yourself this question. With all the wealth you have, what do you do for humanity? And with all the other wealth that I'm going to have investigated, what do you do for humanity? What do you do for Canadians? It's the same with the one there that runs Vancouver. What do they do? What's the Premier of British Columbia do to make British Columbians wealthy? Then look at the damage in Alberta. Look at all the freaking damage from their oil extractions and all the thousands of wells that have been abandoned because they ran out of oil. Not only did they run out of oil in those wells, but they lost them jobs. So a bunch of people end up not working in industry no more, but somebody walked away with millions of dollars in profit. Your government lacks common sense because it has a golden spoon. The rest of your government officials remind me of people who want to be stars. They don't do anything for the citizens. They do it all for themselves. They're there for their pension. And if you look at the thousands of people in office that are retired, it's costing you tens of millions of dollars a year. Who's paying for it? The citizens of Canada. Under the Referendum Party of Canada, that wouldn't be allowed. I got people in universities, I've got Canadian citizens, well educated, who'd love to have those jobs, and they'd love to do it for minimum wage. Once the Referendum Party of Canada is elected, most of you are going to be fired. Bye-bye.